Hey happy crafters, I'm Yvonne with Back to Earth Creations, and in this video I want to be showing you how to make one of these wire spiders, though there are 3 other recommended tutorials that will be linked maybe up here in the corner, but definitely down in the video description. And it's a project that goes with this month's kit, but if you don't have our kit, don't worry, we have the tools and materials listed down below and you can use whatever you have on hand. I will be mentioning recommended swap outs, so like if you don't have the wire size or just something like that. So I'm very hopeful that this video will be inspiring and helpful to you, so let's go ahead and get started. Also, this shirt that I'm wearing is from January's batch of tie-dye and I just love it. You can find our kits, tools and materials, tie-dye, jewelry, all sorts of different stuff at backtoearthcreations.com. Now we're gonna get started. Here you can see unwrapped examples of what to expect in your kit. Our kits are available at backtoearthcreations.com as single-time purchases or as a monthly subscription. There are 4 types of beads or cabochons that you can expect in your kits this month. We have some really beautiful dark blue aventurine tile style cabochons. If you'd like to see how these are made, check out our reels or shorts or TikToks. Just any of our short form videos is where we like to show how we're making this month's glass. We also have a frit style that's made from a cloudy opaque white and some really beautiful black aventurine powder capped in a nice clear, so it has a really beautiful doming effect. And then we have our handmade filigrana lampwork glass beads. We demonstrate how to make these in our Kik live streams that typically happen on Mondays, but we can be a little hit or miss on that. So I definitely recommend signing up for our free newsletter because whenever we stream, we send out a notification email. Also, Kik will notify you, if you turn on notifications of whenever we go live. And then we have a wide assortment of different colors in our dichroic glass selection. These are glasses that have been treated with precious metals to give them these beautiful color shifting and, vibrant colors. In our level 1 kit, you can expect to get, some super durable, the blue aventurine tile cabochon, one of the frit cabochons, and one of our handmade glass beads. In our level 2 kit, and also just to be clear here, the level does not signify the crafter's level, it's just like which tier kit you're getting. So all of these are recommended for beginners. The level 1 kit might be for if you already have a lot of wire in your stash, or you prefer polymer clay or beadwork or something like that. You'll only get beads and cabs in the level 1 kit. In the level 2 kit seen here, you'll get, building on the level 1, you also get a beautiful dichroic glass, as well as a spool of wire, which this month you can expect a titanium toned 20 gauge wire. Now this is copper core wire that's been plated and has that non-tarnish enamel that I like so much. So here is an example of our level 3 kit. So you'll get 2 of the tile, 2 of the frit, 1 of the dichro, 1 of the bead, and a spool of this month's wire. In our level 4 kit, you'll get all of these cabochons and 1 of our handmade beads, as well as these 2 gauges of wire, which open it up to doing some of the other recommended tutorials for January's kit. So you could do, we typically, in the level 4 and 5 kits, will do a wire that's thick enough to be a core wire, and then a complementary thinner gauged wire that is great for coiling or weaving. So in this case, that's a 40-yard spool of 28 gauge in hematite tone. So it's a wonderful way of trying out new colors from Parawire as well. And then our level 5 kit, which I do think is just the best bang for your buck. You get all of these cabochons here. That's 4 of the frit style, 4 of the tile style blue aventurine, 3 of the frit, and 3 of the dichro, 1 of our handmade glass beads, as well as 46 yards of wire when it's combined. So you can make quite a bit with these here. And also, our kits are going to be different each month now for the year of 2025. So spoilers, next month we're doing a chainmail kit. So I'm very excited about that. But you can always expect to get a tour at the beginning of the videos. So if you're a little nervous about not knowing if you want to do chainmail, I recommend just following along with the videos without the kit, or just getting monthly kits. You know, once the videos come out, you can still order it. So long as you order your kits within the month of January, you will get that month's kit. So, you know, if you're watching this in the future and it's like March or May or something, the same concept. If you order it for that month, then we'll ship you that month's kit. Now, also sometimes, you know, we might run out of a color or something, but we will try to give you the same gauge at the very least. That way you can craft along with the project. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and get started. Now, also, if kits are just not your thing, you can use whatever you have on hand. We also do sell, you know, we make custom handmade beads and different cabochons and stuff we have listed individually on our website. So if you have very particular taste, we try to cater to that as well. So that being said, let's go ahead and pull off 5 feet of our 20 gauge wire. So I'm just going to find the loose end of our wire, and I like to pull off a full arm span. And I know that's going to be different for everyone, but it's about 5 feet. And we're going to give that a snip. And now we're going to find the center of our wire by lining up the ends. And then following that wire around. So you could use a knitting needle, you could use mandrel pliers. Here I have my nylon jaw pliers for just in case I need to straighten out my wire. I want to leave everything just as soft as I can right now, so I'm not going to run this through the nylon jaw pliers yet. But I have my wire snips, some bail making, or I call them my mandrel pliers, or you could just use regular round nose. And then I've got some flat nose and bent nose. These are just typically what I always have on hand for when I'm wire wrapping. But again, if there's a crafter, there's a way, so I'm sure we can make do with what we have. I'm going to use the 8mm barrel on our pliers. You could use a pen or something also, and I'm just going to make our bail. And I'm doing this by just wrapping. There we go. I want 3 wraps like that around. There we go, and I'm going to hold it right there. And now we can do it where it's twisted like a twist tie. So we just twist, just grasping with our fingers, and then 2. And let's do once more. Whoop, I'm all tangled in my chair. So a nice solid 2 or 3 wraps, just depending. The more wraps we do, and also if you pull off like 6 or 7 feet of wire, you could totally make like a bigger butt for your spider. And so the length that we have on this stem of the bail here is going to determine how many wraps we can fit around our spider's butt. So I'm just going to do the 2, and now we're going to thread on our bead. And this bead, if you're at our website, like custom ordering some Lamport glass beads, I wouldn't recommend going smaller than the 3/32 inch mandrel size. You just want to make sure that there's enough room to fit 4 of whatever wire that you're using. So you could use a much smaller holed bead if you were using thinner wire. But I've moved this bead all the way down and then kind of bent it so that it's lined up with the bail. And you can kind of smush things into place. They do not have to be perfect. So now we're sliding through the other side, trying to not kink the wire. And I usually do that by getting my finger up in there just to keep that loop open. There we go. And now we can pull the heck out of it, making it a little more snug. So it's almost like it's made in number 8. That's the top loop, and there's the loop there, and they just crossed there in the middle. But now we're going to do the same number of wraps. I'm going to do 2 or 3. And then there's 1, 2, and 3 for good measure. So that is the start of our spider butt. Again, I'm going to use our mandrel pliers, but this time on the 6mm bail. I'm just going to get that kind of shaped and then remove my pliers and just get that shaped around the rest of the way. So we have two kind of loose, just loops. And from here, we are going to hold this quite firmly between our fingertips. If you're having difficulty with that, this is a great opportunity to use our nylon jaw pliers to just hold on to everything. And then I'm going to whip stitch like I'm hand sewing. The wire is both the needle and the thread. And I'm just going to bring that through and cinch it down quite tight there on one side. And then we'll flip it. And we're going to hand sew through again here on the other side. So just pulling it through. And we can use our pliers to make sure that that's, I don't know, kind of poked over. Yeah, because I want this to be as nice and snug as possible because we have to fit all of our spider legs in here. And also, if you're worried about it, make this loop a little bigger. It'll give your spider a larger head, but there will be less chance of not being able to fit all the legs in. So I'm going to be all sloppy and have irregularly lengthed legs. Normally I aim for like 25 millimeters or just an inch, but here I'm just going to use the width of my fingers, you know, kind of lining up there, just holding it up. So it's going to be about that far. You could use a ruler, you could be more specific, but I think this does the trick just fine. I get frustrated pretty easily wrestling with my tools and like having to pick stuff up and put it down. I just want to play with the wire. And so we have that bend, and you can see it's not the best, crispiest bend on the planet. Let's see. Folks always let me know in the comments, and I do appreciate it whenever I go out of frame or when it's blurry, but it's a little too late once the video's been published. So I'm trying my best, y'all. And so we've wrapped there now like that. I'm going to do one stitch that's not a leg, just like that. If you're finding the 20 gauge is difficult with on your hands, a 22 gauge is very nice for this design as well. So I'm going to bring that in, again, just using my hands. I typically have them on me. And we're just going to do that bend. And we're going to sew this leg through, again, keeping any kinks from forming. Do not worry about if your legs are like shapely or spidery looking. Like right now we're just getting shapes knocked out. So now we're going to do our stitch to hold it on. Hold everything in place. There we go. So I'm going to risk zooming out so that you can see over here we have Ember Kitty just hanging out with us. And I don't know if I should say that she's enjoying the wire wrapping, but we'll see. Okay, so I'm going to come here, just gripping there, folding that over. And then bringing this through. Like so. And again, the legs can be all nice and lumpy. It's okay. Let's do that grounding stitch. And we want to try to keep that nice and tight. Just everything kind of snug and pushed up on itself. And now from here, this is going to be our last leg on this side. There we go. And then we're going to thread this through. And I'm going real time with y'all. You can feel free to skip ahead, but just in case you're a beginner or if there's something that might be really obvious to the folks who've been wire wrapping for a while, but if you're just starting out, you know, there's no telling what might be helpful to y'all. So there we go. And now from here, I'm going to use just the jaw of my flat nose pliers, which are about 5 or 6 millimeters wide, but I am just going to bend that in, and that's going to be the little, like like mandible mouth part, peripeties I think they're called, but like the little spider face mouth parts. And then I'm just going to do the one grounding stitch here as well. This is the point where here in a little bit I'll be using my nylon jaw pliers to straighten this wire. Once we're here, we're not going to have to be doing, we don't need the wire as absolutely supple as it can possibly be. Now the wire that comes in the kits is an enameled copper, so it's pretty close to a dead soft in hardness. In wire harnesses, if you're shopping at like Rio Grande or something, you'll come across dead soft, half hard, and full hard. Full hard I like for earring hooks and maybe clasps, but it's going to be very stiff. Half hard, again, like pendant frames, let me think, ear hooks, clasps, dead soft, everything else. I really like dead soft, but these fall, if dead soft is here and half hard is here, these para wires are about, they're like a half dead soft. But it's still pretty nice, but as we work hard in them, they'll become stiffer. Okay, so from here, we're going to build the legs on the other side. So again, just using our fingers. Perfection often, like for me at least, I can only speak from my own experience, but trying to be perfect in the details of my pieces, it keeps me from getting anything done really. And like whenever, you know, if I bring out a piece and, you know, nobody's going to be like, this leg's clearly 1 millimeter shorter than the other ones. It's like, no, it's pretty. I love it. Or, you know, people will be like, ew, it's a spider. So, but do not sweat the small stuff. Like, don't feel like you have to be making your work perfect. So much of what we're doing right now is going to get, for lack of a better term, covered up in future steps. So, and we all start somewhere too. If this is your first wire wrapping project, you know, let yourself have fun. Let yourself be bad at something, because you're just going to get better and better the more you practice. Okay, and then continuing around to sew through. Bending that around. And there's all sorts of different ways to make wire spiders, you guys. This is just one of many, and the variations that you could be making on this are endless. And to me, that's a lot of the fun of it. Okay, so we're going to come around, do that bend, sew it through. Man, thank goodness spiders only have 8 legs. This uses a lot of wire. But the more of the legs that we make, the more manageable all the wire becomes, because it's not quite so long. I don't have to worry about whacking the cat with it anymore. Okay, so now we're going to do our last bend. And we're going to come through right here. And we're going to do that whip stitch. Yeah, so I was about to just kind of sloppily go. If you see, let's come back in. Right here, this is really going to help if I hold it and really get that bend around going. So now that we've trained the shape of that bend, now I can thread through and our wire is going to sit more where we want it to. And that helps me to get a slightly more tidy effect. And now from here, we can make our little bloop short leg for the parapety. And we're just going to come through, coming up and around. And let's ground out that stitch. There we go. There we are, very pleased with how that's come out. And so now we get to do the wrapping that makes the body. Now this design that we're doing is much closer to the herringbone butt spider tutorial that I think we did last year, but you could add beads, you could do all sorts of different things to it. In that tutorial we actually show how to use a bead for the head as well, which I thought was just kind of fun. But today we'll be doing a spiral. So to do this, we're going to bring this wire kind of like down and across. So I'm grabbing both of them and pulling them. I've got the spider facing away from me, and I'm pulling just back behind me. And this is where I want to use these nylon jaw pliers. I'm going to take one wire and run it. And you can see just the difference between, it just gets it out where my hand was smushing the wire. And whoop, there we go. So much smoother. So now they're going to sit parallel to each other, hopefully much better. And I'm going to wrap twice around the butt stem. That's like attaching the butt to the body. That's definitely the correct term for that. And then with it being a herringbone, I'm coming on the top side, and so I want to bring our wire to the top side. I don't want to bring it around behind because that'll get us a different effect. And so from here, I'm just going to cross this, whoop, like that. And then keeping our wires parallel to each other and kind of stacking them on top of the wires that are going through the beads. I'm going to bring that around, and we're just going to cross like that. And then I'm bringing these wires to nestle kind of behind the first layer, and then bringing that around and coming this way. Ember's washing her little paw. She's such a sweetie. And so, oh, you know, I think we might have enough wire here. I'm going to be daring. And I'm going to do a third herringbone on the spider butt. And if we don't have enough, then we'll troubleshoot from there. And so from here, we're just going to come on around. And I want to, how did I do this? Ooh. I'm going to thread this up through the middle, where in those other designs, that's where the bead would be. And I'm going to pull tight. This is another great opportunity to thwomp and thwomp. Really straighten, there we go, our wire. And so now from here, I'm going to just start a twist. This is the Itsy Bitsy Spider twist. So I have my fingers together and I just whoomp, holding on to that tail wire. But do you see how it starts? Like, I mean, a really nice little spiral, y'all. It's my favorite. And then we're just going to build, guiding our wire around like so. And we can have it dip down the front, or I'm going to make it nice and big. And then, no, I'm going to come back one. I don't want my loop that big. I'm happy with my spiral just that size. So I'm going to just tuck this wire here, back to the tummy side. And I'm going to do a single wrap. And we're going to snip right here, kind of right past the center point of our bead. So if the center point is here, I want to come over just a little, boop, save these wires because they're long enough. We could totally make some like bead links or, you know, practice some spirals or something. And so I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to just tuck that end down a little. Do you see the difference between those two? That's the one we just bent, and that's how the other one was. So I'm going to try to be in frame while we bend that around, just like so. And now from here, we can just squish the heck out of it. Now we're going to use our bent nose pliers to just kind of tuck that down and in, really squishing. And so now there's no pokey bit to come up out of that. And I think that's a perfectly suitable way of tucking in my ends. And now we get to do the fun part. or another one of the fun parts. I'm going to grab just the tip with my flat nose pliers, and I'm going to be twisting towards the center. So I hope that makes sense. There's one, and I can't even count it. I'm just going to try to get the same density of twist on all the legs. So there's one, and I'm going to grab it, and I'm going to twist, and then twist, and then twist, and keep twisting until my little crafty heart is happy. Whoop! That's okay if your pliers slide off. Okay, so twisting, twisting, twisting. Doo, 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 doo. This really becomes apparent whenever some of the legs are shorter or longer than the others. But that's okay, because we're not making a squished spider. We're making a spider that looks like he's going to come get you. But I love spiders. Arachne, the weaver of dreams. Okay, so now I'm going to twist towards the center. So for me, that means twisting the other way. And it's not a huge deal if you twist them all in the same direction. It's just, in fact, I don't even know that I'm actually doing anything, but it makes me happy to think that I am. But yeah, with the top facing towards me, I'm just starting that twist to where the wire looks like it's coming from behind. And you could do it the other way, you know, twisting away from the middle, just each time. And I do like to finish with my feet sitting this way, as opposed to being where I can see both the wires. Twist, 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 and twist. And so that's how our spider's looking. I'm going to take our round nose pliers and I'm just going to shape in our little parapety mandible looking spider grabber mouth parts. You could twist those as well, but I kind of like the look of that. And now from here, we want to make the spider look like he's going, ah! And I'll show you what I mean by that. So we're going to take all of our spider legs and we're just going to bend them like straight up. And I do like to use my flat nose pliers for that because it gets a much crisper bend than if I were using my fingers. And so just coming in, bonk, coming in, bonk, coming in, bonk, and the last one, bonk. Okay, so now what so it looks like the spider's going, ah, like he's falling, wee. But now I'm going to bend our front legs forward a bit, and then the back legs back a bit. So from here, I'm going to grab and I'm going to bend like that. And then I'm going to grab and I'm going to bend like that. That way if he's like touching you with his fingertippies. And then the back ones, we're going to bend towards the back. And then we're going to bend towards the back. And then each of these will kind of bend out-ish. You know, not directly straight out, but kind of break it up into eighths, you know. And there we are. We can kind of pose the feet a little more. If you want, you can add a little bit of like a bend to, if you want like flappy spider feet. And my favorite thing, y'all, you could skip the little, like this part, or make it like a smaller loop that would have like a teardrop hanging from it. And you can thread the spider through the little toe tips there, or through his little peripeties. There we are. Oh, well, hey, Ember Cat. We have a kitty and two wire spiders. So I think that's a pretty cool way of making these. And I'm really interested to see what y'all make with this month's kit and this video tutorial. Hey y'all, thank you so much for watching. I hope that this tutorial was helpful to you. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please leave them down below. I love hearing from you guys. If you want to get your hands on some handmade beads or some kits or some finished jewelry or some tie-dye or anything of the sort, please check us out at backtoearthcreations.com. And we have like a calendar of events there and a free newsletter that you can sign up for. But we've got that's where basically everything that we're doing is nowadays is at our website. But we do also have some vending events that are listed on the website as well if you want to see us in person. And we're hoping as we start teaching in person again that we will have those events listed up on our website as well. So I think that's everything. I will see y'all next time. Until then, happy crafting. Mwah. Bye.